All right,
Nice.
so hi, we got Duke of Hobbies, and we've also got Ryan Flemming, otherwise known as Rineheart, and today we're going to run you through exactly how to play on Vassal as sort of a competitive standard pickup game for tournaments and stuff. Say hi, guys,
Hey guys.
Hey everyone.
every time. So yeah, we've just been chatting a bit before this. We'll see if we actually get anyone on the live stream to chat through, but at the moment I'm just screen sharing. So what we'll do is we'll run you through sort of how to start off a game and then go into the gameplay itself, and hopefully can see some of, well, basically how easy it is to get kicking on Vassal and just play some random people on the internet, which is where it's at. So tell you what, if Duke, if you just want to go on to Vassal, I'm just going to go into the main room and show people how to start a game. So if anyone's interested, I've also got a basically an introduction to Vassal, like how to install it, how to get all the games started. So I'm not going to talk too much about that. This is more about actually playing the games and going from there.
So you want me to start up a game here?
If it's okay, I'll do it. So then everyone on the stream and on the video can see exactly how we do that. So yeah, they can at least follow through if they're making a game themselves or they want to start a game up. Then they can do that. So as I'm screen sharing at the moment, it means that you can see that. So I'll go to new game. I'll say Ollie versus Duke, and we can see a new window appear there. So I'll just go File, New Game. I'll be Player 1. And might as well go on Pittsburg X-Wing because, yeah, let's rep some sponsors. So choose the map. Make the map appear. Right, game is up. Duke, you can join.
Alright, joining in now.
Alright, and hopefully we'll get Ryan in here as well. There we go. See
Yep,
him there.
I'm coming.
Got Rineheart.
That's a good point of topic here. Is that for the most part, if a room is unlocked, and if you go watch,
Yep. I mean, there's loads of spectating. I mean, Ryan's on here basically all the time, as is Blair. Like, Blair Bunky just lives on here.
Always looming.
Yep. So, I mean, a lot of people just sit and watch games for the evening. Like, they're doing something else, and they'll just have a game on in the background.
that's what I do.
Yeah, it's nice. So,
It's great to learn.
yeah, I mean, as well as that, I go on here just for checking out lists. So I'll just spend 5 minutes just looking through all the different rooms and seeing what people are flying. It's quite nice just to pick up ideas.
You'll catch some clever things doing that.
Yeah, and some scary things as well.
Yes.
I got absolutely ruined by the 5 Y-wings last night. It just
Yeah, that
did
list worries me.
very, very bad things to me. We'll see what happens. But yeah, so we've got this set up. Just want to go into quickly like how you might get a game as well. You can see a couple of people here with exclamation marks next to their name. That's just this exclamation mark up here. You click it, and you can chat to someone else. So for example, there's a guy called David in the main room. If I wanted to message him, just click on private message and just type, "Hi, do you want a game?" Everyone's really friendly, and you can just chat and go from there. So, right then, shall we get this thing loaded? Shall we get some lists up?
Yeah, let's get the list going.
All right. So, what we've done for you guys as well is that we've decided that we're going to play some lists with as many different things in there as possible. So hopefully you can see most of the interactions and how you might do them on Vassal.
Yeah, we wanted to cover a lot of the, maybe some devices. So I'm flying bombs, pilots that have force charges, and pilots that have charges, or just charges that sit on opposite sides. Everything, like, just in a typical game and how to interact with it in Vassal itself.
Yeah. So when you get in, I'd actually recommend as a tip for beginners. You can see I've just chucked on the stream here. I've already got my list loaded up. I know what I'm going to use. And I've got that in some bookmarks. So I've got a load of the lists that I use on a regular basis in my bookmarks, just so I can go and copy the web address, because it just speeds things up. It means you're not having to make your list on Yasby or whatever you use from the start, and it's just quite helpful. So I can just go into the squad spawn and load up my list. Alright, spawn squad. And might be a little laggy, but then if we have a look at the chat window, just get that smaller there, you can see that Duke's already loaded, or hasn't.
I didn't get mine in there yet. I'm getting it in now because I saw that you were going. So
There we go.
Better for the lag that I don't.
Yeah, that's a good point. So that's the only issue that you find with Vassal, is that sometimes it takes a little while to do things. And you can see down here that we've got both lists. So if I wanted to have a look at Duke's list in a builder, I could just literally copy that, and we can go from there. Awesome. So shall we? What else have we got? Shall we get some ships on the board?
The ship's on the board.
All right. So what you guys should also be able to see, if you can see my window here, that I've got my player window set up as if I was playing on a single screen. Normally I've got two, but it just means that for you guys you can see what we're doing here, so that'll help. The other thing that I wanted to mention as well is Mjorn has been busy, and we've got the Escrow function in here. So, I mean, have you guys play in the Vassal League, right?
Yeah.
So do you just want to run us through like how Escrow works?
What, escrow? Or what?
Yeah. He's always talking about the escrowing. So, you submitting your list privately in the fashion that for the league, in a league, you don't have a set list like you do in a tournament. You can change your list as many times as you want, but your opponent won't know it until you both submit a list into this, what we're doing, using List Fortress now. So it's kind of changed from the original since we've moved from 1.0 to 2.0, but now I know that Muon is working on, and I'm not sure if it has been actually implemented yet. You should be able to do it through Vassal.
Yeah, so I'm just bringing up a page here of what you will eventually see. So Muon sent me an image because he knew that we were doing this video. He has pretty much integrated it now into the squad spawner. So as soon as the new update comes out, you're going to be able to see, you just copy your list in, send to a Scrowl, and then when your opponent does exactly the same thing, what will happen is that it will reveal and load both of your lists at the same time.
He has been busy, hasn't he?
Oh yeah, he's doing all the things.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
for as appreciated as Muon is in the community, he's still underappreciated.
Yeah, I mean, guys, subscribe to his Patreon. Like, yeah, I think I've actually gone on for like the $10 a month because I was thinking about this and I was like, right, if I was ever to play World of Warcraft or something, then you'd be paying that much a month for a game anyway. And the amount of time I spend on here, it's
yeah.
Yeah, it's insane. And yeah, he does all this for free. You can play X-Wing for free. Wonderful. At least until Disney gets angry. And yeah.
I just want to show real quick the difference between how we each loaded our list there.
Yep.
You loaded yours with your rocks included.
Yes.
I intentionally loaded mine without my rocks included. I just minimized all my stuff real quick. I did that because there's sometimes you guys, if you do it through YASB or you have your export list, it might not actually have the asteroids built into that. All you're going to do then is go to your pieces window, and then you can get the rocks from there. So let me get up. There it is. And then you can, they have the two sets of asteroids there. So you have, and you go to chits for that. So that's the third tab. And you're going to asteroids or the Force Awaken asteroids. So the two core sets, essentially. And then there's debris clouds, that's right. But I strictly play with the same three rocks, as always. And then it's just a drag and drop situation.
Yep, just take it from there, chuck one on the board, wherever you want.
One thing that people may not realize, it's a perspective issue, is you're looking at the board here. Your natural instinct is to want to start at the bottom because that's kind of how it is naturally when you play in person. But both players are seeing the board in the same orientation. So if one player is starting at the bottom, the other player would have to start at the top, and that's counterintuitive to what he would normally expect. So I think it was 2.5 years ago. Theorist did a tournament, and he set the standard that play from left to right.
Yeah, it makes it a lot
generally
easier.
No one has the natural orientation advantage that you would from starting at the bottom. So when you're rolling for initiative, roll hit or miss, decide who goes first, and then the other person generally will decide which side of the board they want to start on.
Yeah, it's something I ask very nicely whenever I'm doing streams, because I've got my stream set up so that the left-hand side is me. I always try and see if I can start on the left. Most people like the right, so...
I tend to start on the right, but it's the same disadvantage going side to side. There's no real advantage to either side, really. It's just kind of personal preference. Yeah,
that's a really good call. That's one of the things I always forget, because new players always tend to set up at the bottom. I think they assume that it's reversed for your opponent.
Other player. Yeah, it's not. It's the, yeah, and again, like the protocol is points. That person calls hit or miss. If you're tied, you call hit or miss. Once initiative's determined, that player decides if they want to go first or second, and generally the other player decides which side of the board they want to start on.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's a nice little touch. You can just say, right, there we go. You may have lost the roll, but you get to choose.
Get something. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But don't ever choose to start. Don't choose to start at the bottom. That'd be a faux pas.
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing, I think we've dealt with most things for starting up, but the only thing we haven't done is that if you are playing one of these online tournaments, most of the time you tend to record your games just in case something goes wrong or it crashes, and you can do that by going into the File tab and clicking Begin Log File. That will then start up a save window. Save it wherever you like. A lot of the time, I mean, you can see in here I record a lot of my games, and yeah, you just say, for example, test stream game, hit save. Just hit OK when it says enter comments, and right now this is recording everything that we do on Vassal. When you're finished recording, you just go File, End Log File, and then that log file is saved, and you can look back over it. You can load it up in Vassal, and that will step through as showing everything that you did in that game.
The best part about that is you might have had a turn where I wonder if I'd have made the left, the too hard right. Would I have hit the rock or not? You can go back and you can see. You can execute any maneuver you want and undo it, and then continue to replay the game.
Yeah, it's a really good feature.
Or you can make a copy of a ship, and if you maybe had gone to the left and you want to see how the game would have played out if you went to the right instead, you can make a copy of the ship, and as you play through the game, you can move that ship in the alternate path you would have taken to see if it would have worked out better.
Yeah, it's a really nice feature, and also makes it very easy for streamers like us. If you want to just run through a game with commentary on it, it won't take an hour and a half to play the game. You can just run through it in about 15 minutes, because you can quickly blast through all the dial setting and everything else.
And it was also important for just it's good to track that stuff too, in terms of you while you're playing. Oh, did he say set, or did your opponent say set? And you can scroll back up through and, oh man, I swear he didn't do that or something like that. But it's all logged, so everything's logged in there. So it's good to have that for recording that record, especially for the competitive play.
Absolutely. And as you guys can see, there's the whole chat window here. As soon as I do something, so for example, I'm going to move Chewie one forwards, and as Chewie moves one forwards, it appears in the chat. So you can see exactly what someone does. If I decide that I want to check range from Lulo to Chewie, I can check the range, and it tells you in the chat what range it is. It's really useful.
The one other thing about the chat, I've seen, especially newer players do this. So when you play on Vassal, you're generally not talking to each other. There's no audio. This is the exception because we're recording something. But generally, it's all text chat. So the best thing you can do for your opponent, what you're doing. When you've rolled the dice and you're done modifying, type set. When you've moved your ship and you're done moving and you've taken your actions, type set. If you're re-rolling dice, state if you're using a target lock, state if you're using predator, state if you're using some other effect. It will save confusion and tense situations between two players, you are completely transparent about what's going on. Don't assume that your opponent knows something. When you're playing in person, a lot of times you can just look at them and infer, and there's more than just your words that are saying what's happening. In Vassal, all you have is what's written in the chat. So it's important to be very specific and ordered about what you're writing in that chat, and everything you're doing, just tell them.
Yeah, and this is something that I'm really bad at.
Yeah, this is important when it comes to, especially with doing a barrel roll or boost. Because if you're going to do a barrel roll or you're going to do a boost, declare it first and declare the direction right away. So, I'm going to type in barrel roll, I might use BR. I use BR all the time and then be like left. So I declared it in there, and, sometimes I accidentally hit, right click right, because I'm looking at the ship in a weird orientation and I'm thinking right, but I declared left. So like I can be like an honest mistake and be like, look, I know I went right, but I declared left.
Yeah.
And most people are going to be like, yeah, that's what you declared. Do what you declared. Just because, again, like, I don't know, let me just move Horton in a weird direction, and he.
Yeah, that
there's
gets
times
hard.
where I'm looking at this and I'm like, oh, I wanted to go left, and then for some reason I'm thinking to the right, or I click right or something, or I hit the wrong shortcut key. So it happens all the time, but it's important if you declare it, then that's an easy mistake to correct because you actually have proof of what you were intending to do.
Yeah, and as Ryan said, it clears up anything that could possibly be a problem because you're just saying everything in the chat. It's very clear what you need to do, and yeah, it just makes it easy for you to play the game. So there we go.
And there's no question.
Yeah.
All questions go away because you said it.
Exactly.
Yep.
Just before, because I think we've pretty much covered everything that you need to do before the start of the game. The other thing that I will go into is, as well as finding the asteroids in this pieces window, you've also got, if you click on second edition, you've got all the tokens you might need as well. So yeah, if for some reason, if your list spawns without the tokens that you need, because you can see from my player window, it should spawn with all the tokens and all the target locks, which is amazing. Again, Muon, you're a god. But yeah, you've also got movement and range aids. Another one on that, it's quite bad form on Vassal, just like it would be on a table. You're not allowed to pre-measure. So it's quite bad form to get out the templates. I mean, you can have them for reference, sure, but holding them up against the screen is kind of frowned upon. And I caught one of my opponents using the solitaire window to have templates in, and he was rotating them to the right orientation, and I imagine holding them on the screen. So yeah, it's usually frowned upon because you wouldn't pre-measure your moves in a tournament on the table, so you wouldn't do it on here.
Same rules apply. So it's not like the just being on Vassal adjust anything. It's the same rules. It's just be kind and everyone's just here to have a good time. So
yeah,
if the game's not going your way, happens a lot. That's how it goes.
Yep.
That's how it goes.
Remember to blame the dice and always reroll rerolls. It's really annoying. Han can do that now. Right. So shall we get this thing rolling?
Yes. Pun intended.
All right. So yeah. Oh, as you can see, I've got player 1 window open as I'm player 1. Duke has got player 2 window. So he's got his list in the player 2 window. I normally have both of these side to side so I can see my opponent's list. But I'd have that on my left-hand screen. You guys can see the right. So I'll just keep my player 1 window open for the moment. And I will spawn a damage deck as well. There we go. So how many points am I on? I need to check this because I've forgotten in all the time that we were chatting. I am on 196 with this list.
I think I'm 200. I'm pretty sure I'm 200.
You are 199. I still got your list up.
Oh, okay.
There we go.
Okay.
So I've got the initiative choice. I have a 6 in Poe, and Wedge is scary, so I'm going to ask if you move first, which means you get to choose side.
All right, I will take the right side then.
Thank you. That makes the stream easier. All right. So what I'll do is I'll do the first couple of rounds so you can see my screen, so you can get used to it, and then I'll flip back to my streaming mode so that it looks a bit more cleaner and it's less busy. There's less stuff for you to focus on.
And I'm recording it. Just here's my right side of my monitor. This is what it looks like for me entirely.
Yeah.
So I might switch back to my stream, but it's not that big. But I get first rock.
Yeah, you do. Oh, right in the middle.
Right in the middle.
So with this, there's a Ewing over there. So actually, I don't mind making it messy. So I'm going to use the rocks because normally I play with the big rocks, same as Duke, but I'm scared of TIE fighters, the new mining guild ones. So I've swapped to debris. So I'm going to place that one over there. Set. I am set.
Yeah.
I'm going to use just as Duke's doing, I'm going to use the chat to show you how we play with text as well as talking.
And normally, most of the veteran players are going to just type in set because that's what we're used to. Courtesy of Muon, he actually put in the auto type set.
Yeah, we have a set button that I never use.
Yeah, I typically type set and then I misspell it like 4 times.
Yeah.
So it's kind of been helpful for me.
And
if somebody accidentally types ST, it means set.
Yeah, exactly.
I think my usual is EST because I type it just in the wrong order.
Yeah. I go to tournaments, I can usually tell who the Vassal players are.
Yeah.
Because they tend to say set after they're done doing anything.
Yeah, I do. Like, dials are set.
Yeah, I'm set. Like, people who don't play on Vassal don't do that as much, but just it's second nature to me from playing on Vassal. No matter what the game, set. Are you set? I'm set.
Yeah, and you can hear it from across a room as well. If you play on Vassal, as soon as someone says it, it's just like, I have a friend. All right, that one is set. So
say set, and if you aren't sure sometimes your opponent will not do anything, like they've moved and they haven't taken an action, or they've put a focus down, and you're not sure if they're going to link or whatever. Are you set?
Yeah, just ask.
Sometimes they may forget or they may get distracted. So just ask them, are you set? If they say yes, great. Then you continue.
Yeah, exactly. And again, just typing and being clear in the chat just clears everything up. Also, as just general etiquette goes, obviously you can't see your opponent, so you don't know whether they've just disappeared to the toilet or something. I'd normally tell my opponent if I need to go or for whatever reason. Like phone calls happen, you've got to go to the toilet, do whatever. Just say, look, I've got to go, be back in 5, and then your opponent isn't just waiting around thinking that you've disappeared.
Your wife walks in with groceries, you need to unload the car, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right back.
All right, all the rocks are on the table. What initiative are your ships?
I am a 3-4-4-6, and then I had to double check that because I just kind of threw this list together. So
Yeah, so we've got the 3 first. Cassian goes down on the board first.
oh, it's Magva.
Oh no rerolls for me.
Denying rerolls.
She's really good.
I like her. I like her a lot. I actually have yet to be successful with her, but I like her. All right, and then it's my 2 4s actually next, right?
Yeah, because I've given you the initiative. Yep.
So I'm gonna do Dutch next because he's easy to throw out there. Oh, hitting some lag.
Yeah.
Typical Vassal here.
Yeah. Every now and then it can take a few seconds to do something. So if it does lag on you and nothing's happening, don't mash any keys, because it will catch up eventually, and mashing keys not only makes it last longer, but makes your ship move halfway across the board when it does everything at once.
Yep.
All right.
So I'm going to set Dutch there, and typically if you have, at least in my case, I'm not sure about you guys, but if I have 2 ships that I'm going to set next, of the same initiative level, then I just set them both, and then I'll say set.
Yeah. Oh, you guys will also notice the grids around the board that we're using to set up our ships. That's used for setup, and again, if you wouldn't use range help during the game, so we turn those off when we start. It's just this little 3x3 box up here.
Then I'm gonna.
There we go.
Yeah, there we go. Rotate and then that's why I'm declaring which way I'm gonna rotate that that mobile arc. Hey, I actually went the right direction.
Yeah.
And then.
So you've Alt M is the shortcut key, but you can do pretty much everything on the right clicks. So if you have a look there, you've got reverse moves, barrel rolls, like literally everything is on there, mobile arcs, etc., etc. All right, so it's my 4 next, and Duke is set. So I'm gonna turn Chewie up here. We'll come on to movement in a bit, and I'm gonna pop him in the corner because I really don't fancy jousting. And it's also Lulo to go next, so Lula's gonna set up with Chewie. She doesn't know where Wedge is gonna go, and she doesn't want to get picked on. So there we go.
It is. And so now Wedge is up, and Wedge is not sure what he's supposed to do with this list yet, because I wanted to fit something with charges on another ship. And I realized I had the bombs, but I thought I'll throw in like Leia because I love that Leia's 2 points now. So
yeah, Leia's
instead of
so
Swarm.
Oh god.
I went with Leia. So.
Well, I've just realised that 4 B-wings and Zeb with Leia on board is 200 points exactly.
Oh, I might try that.
Or I mean, you can use X-wings, mix and match. They're anything that's 41 points. So the Y-wings, you can take 4 of the Y-wings and then Zeb with Leia.
I'd rather go with those B-wings. I like B-wings.
Oh, I love B-wings. I love B-wings. All right, Poe's going to go on flanking duty. I never like setting things up straight because I think it's too obvious, so I'm going to put him at an angle. There we go. All right then, and then I'm going to say set because he's set up, and then off we go. Good luck, have fun, or may the force be with you.
Yeah, either way.
So if anyone
right.
puts that in the chat, MTFBWY, they're not trying to like be really nice to you. It's just may the force be with you. All right, and let's toggle that one off. So obviously. Depending on whose stream you're watching, you'll be able to see Duke's dials and my dials as we're setting them. So yeah, we can go through that. Obviously, I'm not going to tell Duke where I'm going because that'd be boring. Interestingly enough, though, because Ryan, as an observer right now, also can't see the dials until we reveal them.
Dials.
Which is kind of important, especially if you're playing like a big game. Then, yeah, because it can really mess with people if you've got someone on Skype that's just scouting for you. All right.
Then this is you can see we're gonna have 2 different ways of how we set our dials. Ollie, you look like you're you do it how it's on the board.
Yeah.
Or a regular way, and I just kind of capture all of them, throw them somewhere out of the way.
I'm being forced to change my ways though because the dials are so big that they're really difficult to put next to the ships.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are.
Oh, something I forgot to do is I forgot to trigger Poe's S-foils because Vassal can do that for you. So where is it on here? Craft stats, set stats. I can't remember where it is, so I'm going to use the shortcut. Alt and U is set the S-foils open or closed. You can see it pops up in the window, and it shows it on the ship as well that his S-foils are closed.
Foils and the configs are typically they're not in the set stats. They're the very first thing on the top on the right click.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm using. I'm just going to keep mine open for both my U-wing and X-wing. Make sure the default setting is actually opposite, is closed, and closed for both the U-wing and the X-wing and the T-70 on the cards. So if your opponent is going off the cards, be respectful and do it based on the cards too. But typically, everything's on the board.
Yeah, and it's always good to ask if you're not sure. So there we go.
All right. So you're all set. I'm set, and I'm going to use the new Control S feature.
Oh, so good. So your ship just moves automatically. Right.
There, and I'm just going to do the focus, or actually, I could have said focus as my action first.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah,
my 2 4s, and so just like in real life, if some people do it this way, other people do it that way. I'm just going to, for the sake of time, do both at the same time here.
Yeah, there we go.
And forward, he's going to focus. And we'll do the 2 forward with Horton.
Yeah.
And then he's actually going to rotate that arc. So, again, rotate to right.
Alt and M.
Thank you.
There we go. So the double tap is now facing the correct direction. Okay, and yeah, you'll notice that Duke put all of that nicely in the chat there, so it's fairly clear for whoever's playing against him. So I'm now going to activate Chewie. Again, I'm going to use the automatic move function, so if you hit Control and S when you're clicking on your dial, the ship will move automatically and it shows up in the window. Then I'm going to also rotate my arc, because I feel like I'm going to be broadsiding a lot this game. So I'm going to click Alt and M and it will rotate both of them at once. And finally, as that's a red action, I'm going to grab myself a stress token and dump it next to my ship. Then I'm going to recover my dial with Control and R, just so I don't forget for later. Dump it back in my window. Just something quickly, if you guys try and change your dials on the board, I'm just going to do it for Lulo here. You'll notice there's a big angry warning message that shows up for everyone. So that basically someone can't change your dial on the board without everyone knowing. Quite a good feature there. So
and real quick, Ollie, because we had a message on Reddit regarding this. So the player was like, "Hey, I'm having issues transferring." I guess they get either a lot of lag or some issue. They're on Linux when they move their dials between the board and their window.
Mm-hmm.
So we chatted about this on Muon's trying to fix it for him. But we chatted about this, and basically, warning message every time you're changing it while it's on the field, on the map. But if you guys are in the planning phase and you've come to this agreement like, hey, I'm having this weird issue, I'm going to just keep my dials on the board. Again, they're not changing it during the activation phase because this warning isn't popping up during that portion. It's only happening during the planning phase. So it's like acceptable as an error to pop up in that time. So just get that opponent agreement. Just be clear. Get the agreement in the log chat too. So that way, if for some reason something happens later and you're like, hey, look, Judge, it was here. So
yeah, exactly.
I don't think I've ever seen a judge call actually on Vassal like that before, but just in case.
Yeah, that's fine. Right, awesome. So in which case, I'm going to move Lulo. This time I'm going to use the Control R to reveal my dial without the ship moving, and I'm going to manually move her using the hotkeys, which is Shift for forwards and 5. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do both a barrel roll and a boost. So the barrel roll is locked in with left and right for Control and Alt. So Control is left and Alt is right. And then you can use 8 with one of those. So you hit them both at the same time. So I'm going to go Control to go left and 8. But before I do that, I'm going to declare my action. So roll left, then boost, also left. You wouldn't have to do that all at once. You could do one action and then think, right, what am I going to do now? But as the A-Wing's only option is to push the limit afterwards with the boost, I'm going to do that. So, and I've used Control and 1 to do the curvy bank to the left, and then that gets me a stress token, so I'll put another stress token on there. And we'll hide Lulo's dial. There we go. I am set. Over to Wedge.
Alright, Wedge, nice and simple here. Just doing that control. And he will focus also.
There we go. Awesome. So what do you think of the two lists, Ryan? What do you think's... I really like, even though this has been thrown together at the last minute, I really like the Rebels here.
Out there, what'd you say?
What do you think of the Rebels? Like
You know, I mean, I see Nick has kind of made these kind of weird hodgepodge rebel lists his bread and butter. I mean, you look at it, you're like, I don't know how you're going to do anything. I mean, he's got like a Dutch with no turret and just a bomb. But, you know, but somehow he's going to. He pulls it off. So he's gotten really good at weird stuff like this. So, at first, I would see this and be like, yeah, I don't care what you have. But the problem is he kind of outnumbers you.
Yeah. There's a lot of firepower. That's the scary part.
Yeah, he outnumbers you, and if he tags Poe with an ion, Poe's in deep trouble.
Oh, I'm in trouble. Right. Oh, are you set as well?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I am set, so there we go. Yeah.
There we go. So yeah, as you can see, it's very, very easy to forget to say set if you're just having a conversation or something. So, like, it's useful to check. So Poe is going to reveal, does a 1 bank, and then I'm going to say boost straight. So for a shift for forwards. And 1, and he will stay there, not stressing himself out because he doesn't want to take 2 actions. I'm going to leave my foils closed, which I can guarantee I'm going to forget every single turn. Right, so back to Dars.
And because that is the end of the round and we're stuff, you know, we're going to pull our tokens off that come off and everything. But if this is the Vassal League match or any other tournament, typically the rule is 19 rounds. So, Ollie, how about you want to cover how that's typically tracked? And
yeah, so the easiest way that people have found to do this is just by getting up if you go into the 1.0, have we still got the 1.0 chits? Yes, we do. So it chits, and then you go tokens. There's a shield token here or an NG token, and you can set that on the board and you can count the shield. So if you go add 1 shield for turn 1, and then you get another shield for turn 2. So it's now turn 2. So I'll leave that shield token on the board, and yeah, you can leave that there to track the amount of turns going on. And yeah, that's probably the easiest way of doing it. What we'll cover in a second, probably when we get a bit more involved. Actually, you know what, I'm going to do this now, because I don't want this video to go on forever, so you get a good guide and then we can just carry on playing our game. A couple of bits on just when you're doing the tournament is that do make sure you've got enough time to play your game. Normally it takes about an hour and a half to 2 hours, especially for 19 turns. So yeah, set aside some time when you're not going to be too up and down, otherwise it can get quite frustrating for your opponent. And the other thing is crashing, so I'm just going to show you what happens when a ship crashes. The great thing about this is that Vassal does it all automatically. Say for example Lulo decided to do a 2 forwards move here. I would do the 2 forwards and you'll see that the ships are flashed because my ships overlapped. All I need to do is click on Lulo again and hit the C key on the keyboard, and it will automatically move Lulo back to where she meant to be. If for whatever reason I wanted to undo that, I can just click the undo and move her back, and say I wanted to check out if a 2 bank fit, then I could do a 2 bank from this point as well, control and 2, and you see that she's also crashed. So I'm going to click on her and I'm going to hit the C key, and it moves the ship back along the template until they're just in contact, just like that. And if you want to delete something, it is Control and D to get rid of it. So there we go. Right, Can you guys think of anything else to add, just for sort of ease of play and everything else?
I mean, the biggest issue is always just communication. You know, there's generally an accepted protocol. You say set, this person does that, you wait. You play one game, you'll kind of pick up on that. We'll try to guide you through it here, but most of the wonkiness with Vassal comes when people aren't communicating to each other what's happening.
Yeah, and and that's when people can just get frustrated or just quit the game, because if you don't know what's going on with your opponent, then it's quite hard to work out what you want to do and whether or not you can actually do something. So yeah, just use that chat window. A lot of people I know, when they're starting off, will just play people that they know and try and chat on Discord or Skype or something. But yeah, it's very, very easy. As long as you just use the chat nice and often, then you'll find that it's very easy to play a game on here.
Yeah, definitely. Just make sure, especially for the league, since you're recording it with the log file, so try to keep everything within Vassal itself. It has been handy to do voice chat before with people, so but then there's been times where it's like, wait, what were you trying to do and stuff, and then because it wasn't really logged in a weird way for the Vassal, we couldn't go backwards.
Yeah.
With like the undo button. So just that would be my suggestion. Even if you're voice chatting like we are now, we're still throwing set in there. We're still declaring by typing. I think that's still important for Vassal play.
It is.
Really, when you're a new person, for sure, keep doing that no matter what. It just gets into a habit because, like, I think, Ryan, you play a lot on your laptop, so you're not going to be trying to hook up voice chat for it anyways. I'm on my desktop, so if my opponent wants to, I just plug in my mic real quick. So
I've been playing on Vassal for 5 years now.
So you remember the old barrel rolls.
I remember it all. But I think I've done a voice chat Vassal game in that time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, unless there's an exception, assume you're not using voice and you're just using chat, text, typing chat.
Yeah, it doesn't happen very often. It's only so when I play a few of the other guys in the 186th, we've just got fairly regular voice chat set up anyway, so we might do that, but that would be the only time that I play with voice comms.
Yeah, I mean, if I was playing Nick, who's a local player to me, maybe we would have a voice chat set up on our local group Discord channel, but even then,
yeah,
I think half the time we're just chatting anyway. So I feel bad. There's times where I'm messaging my opponent, Ryan's messaging me, and then it goes. All of a sudden I'm typing this whole message to Ryan that I meant for my opponent, and I'm like, crap. So
yeah, exactly. All right.
That's one of the things to keep in mind, guys. You can be privately chatting with someone while they're playing a game. So Duke and Ollie could be playing here, and I could be having a private chat with Duke, and Ollie would have no knowledge about it. Now, I could be talking to Duke about what his next moves are. We could be debating it. Like, if you're playing a friendly game and everybody's aware that might be happening, whatever, do what you want. But if you're playing in a tournament or a league game and someone wants to chat with you privately, you can chat with them privately. But it would be inappropriate to talk about moves or what you should and shouldn't do to beat the other opponent without them knowing about it. It's inappropriate to do it all. So don't assume because there's a private chat that you can have this private little strategy coaching session. Don't do that. You shouldn't do that.
And it's something that I've called people out on before, because obviously people watch and they want to just get involved. But yeah, because I've had to tell them before, no, sorry, this is a league game, so we can't talk about this yet. We can talk about it afterwards, but if you're giving me advice during the game, then yeah, it kind of voids it. It's the same as on a tournament. If you wouldn't do it on the table, don't do it on here.
Yeah. If you join in and you start Ryan's here, he's joined in, he's watching our game. He's not chatting into our chat window at all, because he's spectating. He doesn't want to start like, well, why did you do that? Like, you don't disrupt another person, or don't really. I would say for an actual Vassal League game, don't interact as a spectator unless you're asked.
Yeah. And that's sorry.
I would say the only other thing is like a judge call. Like Ryan, actually, I've rarely had to deal with judge calls in like the Vassal League. How do you guys deal with that?
I mean, there's no real judge in a Vassal game.
Yeah, like if I've had it a few times where either I've been watching a game and I've seen something that I know is wrong, or a lot of the time if they're spectators, I'll ask spectators what they think. If there is a call that we can't agree on, then just in case someone in there knows it off the top of their head, I'll ask the spectators. But yeah, it's very rare that someone on the outside would come in and just go, oh, that's wrong, or something else. It's only if it's a very obvious and serious thing that someone's done.
Oh, and the nice thing about Vassal too is that in a real tournament, the majority of the judge calls are, is this ship an arc?
Yep.
And with Vassal, that's not a question. The engine will tell you definitively if it's in arc or not. So there's none of this, well, I think it's an arc. You don't think it's like, the engine will just, the engine is the judge. The engine will say it's an arc or it's not an arc.
Yeah, same thing with bumps and everything else. Like, you don't have to check it because the system just does it for you.
Really the only occasion you'd have for a judge call is if there's a rules question. And that's usually pretty simple to determine. You can look it up in the rules, or someone who's spectating might know the rule in another game, who you trust. Like if you saw me or Ollie or Duke and you needed a rules question, you could private chat them and say, hey, do you know what the answer to this rules question is?
Yeah, exactly.
That's appropriate.
Yeah, reach out. Make sure you just, again, just keep it open communication for it all.
Yeah.
For me, if I see someone doing something that I think is against the rules, I won't directly speak into the game. I will ask the player, why did you do this? Because I don't think you're allowed to do that.
Yeah. That's a good way of doing it.
Yeah. And then let them answer, because I might have missed something that allows them to do it, and he can then tell me in the private chat, well, I have this upgrade card and this interacts with this. Oh, I get it, I understand. As opposed to me interrupting their game.
Yeah, exactly. And then you raise suspicion from their opponent as well.
If I ask a question publicly, I might inadvertently reveal something to both players that I shouldn't have.
Yeah.
Generally, just keep your mouth shut. I mean, but if you see something off, like, well, why did you do this? Why did you do this? How did you re-roll a re-roll? Or how did you get 5 dice when you shot? That kind of thing. You can ask if you see a rules violation, but you're not. If it's a league game, just generally keep your mouth shut until someone asks.
Yeah.
If it's more of a casual game and you're curious, you can privately chat with somebody, but keep a low profile and don't interject yourself into their game.
Okay. I mean, I think the last thing would be what happens at the end of the game. So say like we played through this and, do you want to go over that, Ollie, or?
Well, feel free to take it. I mean, because end of the game is normally you would just generally work out points and stuff. It's normally good to say that you're going to leave and etc. because otherwise you just disappear and your opponent doesn't know where you've gone.
I would say for the Vassal League, in terms of that, one, you guys are going to end the log file, so you'll officially save it, close it. That's the game; it's covered, and then you'll, just like you said, go over the points. But then we're gonna be. I think we're going back to List Fortress, and we're submitting the results there.
Yeah. So similar to you'd write down in a tournament, it'll be points destroyed for each side, and then List Fortress should automatically work that out and give the MOV and everything else.
So just the points destroyed. That's right. Yeah, that's all it's going to be including.
So yeah, I think. And anything else at the end of the game? Normally, it's it's fairly clear when the game ends. Also, do something that's good to do with this timer is make sure it's both players' responsibility to check on the timer, because it's very easy. Just like saying set, it's easy to forget. It's easy to forget to set the timer for the turn count. So yeah, I mean, a lot of people on Vassal will start to use an actual time instead of the turn count. But because in the Vassal League you can be unsure of how experienced someone is, it can take them a little while to get used to Vassal. So it can run a bit longer. So yeah, I think that's everything we need. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish this recording. This will be uploaded to YouTube and Twitch, as I assume Duke will do so as well. And yeah, this will be on there for you guys to look at and check. And I'm going to leave my stream running, and we can just go straight into the game and finish it off.
Awesome. Yeah, I will. I'll end this recording here, and I'll start up a new one just between this game then. So